All right, Joseph, first off, tell me, how excited are you for everyone to see Sissy That Walk or Talk, Sissy That Talk?
I am beyond excited. It was a passion project of mine that I went and presented to Forever Dog and Mom, and they pretty much allowed me to have a great amount of creative control. And it was just so nice seeing the ideas that I had just come to life and having somebody believe in them. And it's just like when that happens, I'm all for it. I'm probably the most excited I've been about any project that I've ever put out. So
Good, good. So, what can we expect, and what do you hope audiences take away from this show?
you can expect the most chaotic, crazy, fun show ever. It's twists and turns. It is like a late night show, but at the same time, it's complete chaos. So I like describing it kind of like how the way of what we're familiar with the Z Way or an Eric Andre mixed with just a tad of like Jimmy Fallon. So I have these girls on the drag queens come in and we start with a monologue, and
Yeah.
it's not necessarily the normal type of monologue. Sometimes we have queens doing the monologue, sometimes it's an actual monologue from like a
Okay.
movie. It's just very out there. And then we get into an interview, and the interview portion of the show is not like a drag race centric interview.
Okay.
So none of it is going to be like covering drag race there. But we're more into like the drama that they had at the airport or, crazy
Okay.
tweets that they tweeted or stuff. Um, and then we get into picks from the past, which is one of my favorites, where it's literally pulling up images from these queens from 15 years ago when they were like, for instance, Katya. I pulled up an old flyer from when Katya used to be known as Katie Homophobia,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
really just getting into like before drag race, during, and then after, and just really tapping into some pivotal moments in their career or controversial moments.
All right.
And then we bring out a wheel. They spin a wheel. It's called the random ass wheel, which we call it the raw segment. And it could land on anything, and they have to go to the green screen and do it. So it's a green screen segment. It could be an acting challenge if they lost theirs on Drag Race. It
Oh
could
gosh.
be, doing a commercial. It could be a song, reaction videos. It is the most obscure things that we make these queens do, but it is so much fun.
Sounds like a good
And
time.
then, yes, it is such a good time. And then after that, that's pretty much the short form show.
Mhm.
And then we have a 30-minute podcast version, which is completely separate.
Okay.
So it is more of a conversational conversation, more kind of like relaxed, subdued. And then that's also videoed, and that's also going to be put up on YouTube as well. So it's kind of like two completely different pieces of content to
Mhm.
really get the Drag Race fans excited.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Awesome. Can't wait to see. Uh,
Oh.
how did this project initially come to fruition? Like, how did it all begin?
Um, I have loved doing expos, and I love interviewing drag queens and getting to, know them for who they are. But one thing is that when I was at Drag Con last year, I had a whole setup, and I basically did live from the con, and I just had queens stop by the booth. And in that moment, I realized, oh my gosh, this is what I always wanted to do, because
Mhm.
I always wanted to be in entertainment, like catchy, quick interview type things. And I was like, but this really set the tone, and it really like sparked this happiness in me. So I was like, well, how can I make this into a show? Like who's going to do this? I don't have the money for this. How are we going to get this done? And because I'm not going to bring people in my apartment and just sit them down with the camera. So I made a pitch deck. I fully conceptualized it all, and I brought it to mom, and I was like, this is what I would love to do. And they basically were really gung ho about it. And they said, Joseph, if you can bring us sponsors, then we'll gladly do it. And brought them sponsors, and literally the rest is history. And just being
Awesome.
able to just see it come to life is beyond exciting.
So you've always kind of dreamed of having like a late night talk show program.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Cool, cool. So what are you personally hoping to take away from this experience?
I think personally, I am hoping. You mean like personally, like from me, from the
Yes,
experience,
for you.
right?
Yeah.
I think personally, I just hope to keep going up the ladder. I hope that this can open doors to things. I'm very privileged in the way of having a company believe so much in a project to where there's not 900 cooks in a kitchen
Yeah. Mhm.
and being able to have control. I mean, I always wanted to have like a late night show kind of like on the TV and by a network. But then when you do that, you have the network telling you what you should do, and you
Mhm.
have this telling you what you should
Yeah.
do. So, really, with this show, I think it's a stepping stone for myself, but also for the drag community as well. I think that we've had a void in this world of drag content. We have only a few producers of it. We have Wow's content and Wow's content,
Yeah.
and there's not like a lot of gay or drag race oriented things that stray away from the conception of drag race. And I think that drag race has become such a pivotal part, but wow, in its own way, World of Wonder, they want to keep things good. They don't want the drama out there. They don't want like
Yeah.
all the to tap into certain things. And these queens all have different stories. They all have different talents. And so I just really want to showcase that and just kind of spread the drag amongst the
Mhm.
children.
So you have a little bit more free reign, and some of these
Yes.
queens are just dying to spill the tea.
Yes.
And yeah, like you're known for your YouTube series and podcast Expose. What do you enjoy the most about interviewing drag queens?
Getting to know people. I think being on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum, I think it's a little difficult sometimes for me to actually have conversations with people in social settings.
Hmm.
And I think, in all honesty, it's kind of like helping me in that aspect as well. It's helping me, get to learn about somebody and become friends with somebody in a setting that I necessarily wouldn't. And I think that interviewing queens, I can set up questions and get to know them. And it's common because it's an interview. However, if I'm going to go meet some, random friend out that's going to be somebody I meet for the first time, if I ask them all these questions that I'm asking these interview subjects, it's creepy. So for me, it's just kind of like it's exciting in the way of really getting to know these queens for who they are, and also just being able to show the world that, hey, you know what? Some of these queens go through really hard struggles and they go through really hard things that are actually very relatable. And, you should hear that. You should have an inspiration for being like, you know what? My mom or dad didn't accept me for coming out as gay. Oh my gosh, this drag queens didn't either. They were kicked
Yeah.
out of their house. I relate to that. And I think it's just the relatability and just understanding more about our lovely culture.
Yes, for sure, definitely. So Sissy That Talk premieres January 25th?
Fourth.
4th. Close enough.
Yeah,
24th.
you're there.
So Tuesday the 24th. Cool, cool.
Mhm.
And is it all going to be released at once, or is it going to be weekly?
So it's going to be weekly. And basically, the way that we're doing it is that Tuesdays is going to be always a brand new full episode of Sissy That Talk show. And then we will have the podcast version, which will be released on Fridays.
Okay.
So you kind of get like two little goodies each week. And then the great thing about it too is that we kind of film with these queens for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Hmm.
So, and then we cut it down to a very short form version. So we have a lot of different clips and topics and conversations too
Okay.
that come up that we cut out that we're going to then put into clip form.
Okay, perfect. And this first season features queens like Katya, Alaska, Laganja, Cornbread. How did you pick and choose which queen will be featured?
I looked at it in the way of who do I believe would be down to have the most chaotic interview, but then also at the same time play a game? Because I know not all queens do that.
Okay, so that's where you got
And
Katya.
yes, that's why I got Katya. So, we had Katya, we had Tammy Brown, Cornbread. I brought Cornbread on because she she blocked me on Twitter and I really wanted to get to the bottom of it. So I ended up like calling her out on that. And then we had a really good conversation. I owned up to what I did, and you'll figure it out when you see the episode. But
Okay.
it's really just who's personable and who can have a good time with this and not take it so seriously,
Hmm.
because and then also who's not in a wild contract too.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yep. So, if renewed for a second season, do you already have some ideas in mind on what you want to do?
yes, if renewed for a second season, which I hope, I really just kind of want to expand it even more. I kind of want to go international franchises as
Oh,
well. Like,
yeah,
I
UK.
would love to, have like UK girls on, love to have like Taste on. I would love, to bring on Carmen Farala and then have like a translate. Like, I don't mind that. Like, I want to kind of like just expand outside of the US realm and really get girls that can represent their country.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great. Now, drag has become such a controversial topic within the last couple of years, unfortunately. What are your thoughts about all the anti-drag rhetoric that is being spewed by the far right?
Oh, it really does irk me, and it makes me really sad for these girls. Seeing something, a passion that they absolutely love, kind of being destroyed by a political party. It really hurts me, and it really has led me to kind of have conversations with people too who are against it, and just being like, it is okay for kids to see. Sure, our drag acts are some completely, sexual or sensual or whatever. Yeah, of course they are. It's just somebody's routine. The same way that a musician or an artist on the radio, some may cuss, some may not cuss,
Yeah.
but it's really you're the gatekeeper for your children.
Hmm.
So you are the ones who decide, like when we were younger, and like your mom, somebody's mom or dad would let them watch an R-rated movie at the age of 6, and then you're like, that's not fair, I want to watch an
Yeah.
R-rated movie. It's
Hmm.
just your parents are the gatekeepers, so it's what they should physically decide. I don't think that there should be any form of, let's make this so political because, oh, we believe that they're grooming your children. Well, also, what I always say is, show me the facts, show me the proof.
Hmm.
If
Yeah.
you want to have these big political statements and you want to scare people, then show the proof. If you
Yeah.
can't show the proof, then go away. and
Exactly.
and I think that it's just so sad, like seeing the Christmas tour that just went around the US and seeing
Mm.
all the protests for
Yeah.
that. It's
That was
like,
very sad.
it's so sad. And like I said, like not all drag is for everybody, but at the
Hmm.
same time, there is drag for everybody.
Exactly.
So,
Definitely.
if you don't want to go see, a drag queen do the splits or do whatever, take your child to go see Nina West. Like Nina West is
Yeah.
amazing. Like
Yeah.
there's
Hmm.
children's book and stuff. So you have these great drag queens that can be role models for your kids.
Hmm.
So it's just kind of like gatekeep how you need to, but don't put it into a political scenario and start scaring people for reasons that are totally false.
Exactly, yeah. I was supposed to go to the Christmas tour when I came to St. Louis, but I didn't get a chance to because I wasn't feeling well. But I'm kind of glad I didn't now because I learned that there were some armed protesters there that showed up.
Stop.
Like you should not be having like these neo-Nazis and these far-right
Mm-hmm.
nut jobs showing up to these shows. And like they say they're protecting the kids when they're doing the exact opposite. So
Yes.
it's very unfortunate that this is happening today.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to a little bit of a lighter topic, what are your thoughts on the newest season of Drag Race that's currently airing right now?
Let me tell you, that just sparked joy in me. For the past probably like 3 or 4 seasons, I would say after season 10, I started becoming very like I felt like the girls were getting in a niche of like, I don't want to be myself because social media is going to attack me, or
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm kind of like holding back. Like the Untucks, you can totally tell from Untucks. Back season 3, 4, 5, 6, them girls were at it and they
Yes.
wanted this so bad. And I think that the thing about this season is we're back to that. Like
Mhm.
seeing all of these girls in that talent show all perform great, minus some ice water. I think that it really showcased that these girls are all extremely strong, which we haven't seen in kind of like a while. But then also at the same time, they're not afraid to speak their minds. They're not afraid to
Exactly.
have a little bit of a controversy.
Hmm.
And that makes me so excited because it's like now we're getting the authentic drag girls back.
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
whoever did casting this season did a fantastic job. While I would like to see some older queens, older than 37,
Hmm.
um, I think that they did a really good job, and besides also uh shortening it down to 40 minutes, that I did
Yeah.
not like.
No, I do not like that at all. And I heard that some of the queens are not happy about that either.
Yeah,
But
they are.
it's very interesting. I'm really watching Sugar and Spice because they are TikTok stars. They have not
Yes.
performed a lot before. So I'm really interested to see what they could do on a national platform. And I think they're going to be the underdogs.
That's how I was feeling too. I really was like questioning it at first. And then, in all honesty, when I saw Spice's performance where she came out of the coffin, I was like, oh, this is comic gold. I love it. And the
Yes.
song's catchy. You're talking about a dingaling. RuPaul's laughing. You're doing what you need to do.
Mhm.
Like, I'm down for that. And I think that, yeah, I think that they will be the underdogs in the way of they're going to be very underestimated.
Yes, for sure. And the last time we talked, you were promoting your debut single, Don't Call Me. Do you have any music
Mm.
projects currently in the works?
I do not. In all honesty, I kind of put everything to the side. Producing music is, or getting music produced and stuff is extremely expensive, and I really just wanted to focus on this now. And then also after Sissy That Talk show, I'm gonna try to start diving in with Marta Mama on a podcast covering España and really getting to like season one, two, and then when three comes out, but really getting into the cultural significance of all of these international seasons because I feel like that's also a big void that we have. Like,
Mhm.
I watch España and I could be laughing my ass off, but at the end of the day, I don't know who any of these Snatch Game characters
Yeah.
are. And that's what I always find too. I'm like, okay, like we need a little bit more context. I want more
Yeah.
context. So my next project, not music wise, but my next project there is literally trying to kind of like fill that void of what the international seasons mean.
Okay. Awesome. Very nice. And overall, what are some future goals you hope to accomplish with your career?
Oh, um, I would love to accomplish. I think Ryan Seacrest and Andy Cohen have really good ways of being both producers and being both in front of the camera.
Mhm.
And I really love that platform and the way that they do that. And I really want to do that for our community in ways of producing content that I may not be hosting, but I'm behind. Like, I would love to start doing documentaries on,
Yeah.
what, or even docu-style TV shows on like ballroom culture and
Okay.
Stonewall and all
Yeah.
these things that are very important in our LGBT culture that I personally feel as time goes on and we have younger gays and younger LGBT plus individuals, I feel like some of those big things that have progressed us have
Mhm.
slowly started to become forgotten about. And I really just would love to tap into that because at the end of the day, those who protested at Stonewall are getting up there in age. And I would love to hear like stories behind that and just really, pushing forward our community, but at the same time also hosting. I would love to have a late night show on primetime television that is gay centric because that would be something not totally like not possible like in the
Yeah.
past few years, and I really think that I would love to like dive into that, just having like my hand in everything.
Yeah, for sure. Perhaps you could do something with the old gays at some point.
Yes, I love the old gays.
Yeah, I interviewed them November last year. So yeah, I mean, they were just everything I thought they would be. I mean, they're absolutely fantastic. It was really interesting getting to learn about their lives and their history and kind of where they are today. So yeah, I think that'd be a good project you could do with them.
They're dope. Yes.
Well, Joseph, how can one stay up to date with you?
You can stay up to date with me on everything social at Joseph A. Shepherd. That's all across the board, even YouTube. And then on the 24th, we start dropping the episodes. We have an 8 episode kind of like first season with really great guests. And we actually just shot our last episode last week with Adore Delano.
Nice.
So that's going to be very exciting. And those come out every Tuesday on the Mom Podcast channel. I'll have clips on mine. And then the podcast version comes out on Fridays.
Okay, perfect. Then before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
Ooh. I would also like to plug the podcast that I produce, Hi Jinx. Go
Okay.
listen to Jinx Monsoon, and also go see Jinx Monsoon on Broadway because I'm
Yes,
dying to see her on Broadway.
me too. Yes. Awesome. Fantastic.